The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
TV party tonight! TV party tonight! We're firing up the TV party party tonight! Alright, alright, alright! Screens light up, brains shut down, talking trash about the best shows in town. No homework, no disguise, just hot takes on the studio line. Sit down, lock in, hit play, let the noise begin. Lock in another episode, another spin. No ratings, no mercy, no skipping the commercials of culture. TV party tonight. TV party tonight. Same screen, same fight, same damn podcast tonight. All right.
Why the heck
You
did my
are
why
muted.
did that, yeah, why did that mute me? That's weird.
You can never tell with StreamYard, I'm telling you.
Ugh. Anyways, yes, take two. Hello. Good evening and welcome to TV Party Tonight. I'm your host, Alexis Hejna. Joining me, one of my regular go-tos, Mr. Jesse Starcher. Hello.
Hey, Alexis, my goodness, it is a pleasure to join you on something that I did not expect to enjoy so much here and talk about it. It's gonna be fun.
Because tonight we are talking about the viral sensation web series Amazing Digital Circus. This first premiered on Glitch Productions on YouTube on October 13, 2023. Created, written, and directed by a creator who only goes by Gooseworks, starring the voices of Lizzie Freeman, Alex Rochon, Michael Kovac, Amanda Hufford, Marissa Lenti, Sean Chiplock, Ashley Nichols, among others. Like I said, this has just been a runaway series. I'm pulling up Glitch's YouTube page. The pilot episode, again, which aired a couple of years ago, is at 449 million views.
Wow.
There's literally almost 500 million views on this thing.
That is crazy. Crazy. I had no idea. Just to kind of give you an idea of where I was as far as knowing what in the world the Digital Circus, the Amazing Digital Circus was. Yeah, I had no idea it existed until you pitched it my way. And I think I told you that it was a few weeks ago. My buddy was gearing up to go watch Masters of the Universe, and he was upset because the stupid circus movie was in the big theater. And I was like, man, this thing must be really, really held in high regard to actually have a release like that, you know? So I had no idea what I was getting into. I had no idea what it was about. I knew it was animated, obviously. So, you know, I was like, oh, let's take a shot and see what we get. And I mean, the first episode's a good way to hook me in. You know, it was a neat concept. So I liked what I got. And then it kept me on for the next 9 or I wouldn't be here.
Well, the synopsis is it follows a cast of 6 humans going by Pomni, Jax, Ragatha, Gangle, Kinger, and Zubul, who find themselves trapped in the titular circus. They don't know how they got there. They don't remember their names. They remember their lives before the circus, but they can't remember their names. And they are at the mercy of an AI known as Kane, who persuades them to engage in various adventures to essentially keep their minds busy, as it were.
When this show first started, I thought that's kind of like all we were going to get. Like, I thought it was just going to be a bunch of silliness, these characters, and maybe a little bit of, you know, lore on the side. It transformed into much more than that, in my opinion.
So the series follows these 6 humans who are stuck in the circus and trying desperately to find a way back out. As the series progresses, we learn more about their backstories, more about the characters, and more about just what is going on in the circus. The lore for this was absolutely crazy, with fan theories going haywire, people trying to figure out just how these characters had gotten in here, what their lives were like, who they were. I still remember after episode 3 premiered and Kinger mentioned that he used to work in computer science, everyone just lost their mind saying, he designed the circus. He designed the circus.
Right. Yeah, they drop things as the episodes go on. They drop little bits that make you think that, okay, there is some history here. What, how does this tie into what happened to these guys? And that's obviously when an audience grabs a hold of that and just runs with it, you've got probably a good hit on your hands.
This got so big that Netflix, this originally was on YouTube. Netflix picked it up and has been showing all 9 episodes. And the final episode got a theatrical release. It kind of kills me because when it first was announced it was getting into theaters, the only theater within driving distance was like almost an hour away from me. But I immediately bought tickets because I knew it was going to sell out fast. And then like a week later, it said, we're expanding. And now all the theaters in my area were showing. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. I think I just lost Jesse. Okay. Now, hopefully he'll be back soon. The main focus of the series seems to be the eyes. Oh, there he is. I lost you.
I've never had that happen before. All of a sudden, the screen just said something went wrong. I've never seen StreamYard do that before. That should the AI is out to get us tonight.
Great.
Kane is sitting in the background, twiddling his teeth.
Yeah, it's like, who tipped off Kane and Bubble that we were recording tonight?
I'm more afraid of Bubble than I am Kane, I swear.
Yeah, I could see that. So most of the series takes place through the point of view of Pomni. She is our latest character who has appeared in the circus. The others have been there for a while. We find out more later on the series about what order they came in, how long they'd been there. Still haunts me how long Kinger must have been alone in the circus before Ragatha showed up. I mean, that's kind of disturbing to think about.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of this, okay, it reminds me of, and you can easily find parallels in a few Black Mirror episodes where they take a consciousness and, they do something or some kind of digital remnant of something is in there, and it can be years or simulated years. And that is very, very like it kind of bends your brain a little bit to try and put yourself in that position because you don't know how sane you will remain. And there's maybe an argument that Kinger didn't exactly remain very sane.
He remained a little more sane than the others because we learned in the first episode that when you reach your breaking point, the only thing waiting for you is abstraction. Yeah,
that's a weird concept. But essentially, if I would liken it to death, but you remain in like a state of just absolute confusion. You can't communicate in any way. At least that's your first impression is that you just become this wild beast of a blob with eyeballs running around and you do not represent what you were before. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you everybody's kind of afraid of doing that because once you abstract, first off, I think you learn that it's kind of painful because Pomni, I think, is it Pomni or Ragatha who gets her arm? No, it's Ragatha. Ragatha gets her arm like entangled into, oh my goodness, what was his name? I call him Huffo.
Yeah.
Okay. She gets her arm entangled and she's clearly in pain. Because
her whole body is glitching.
Yeah, she starts to glitch a little bit, and she does say that it is pretty painful. So it's something that you want to avoid. We'll just put it that way.
The design of the abstraction is so chaotic. It's just, I don't want to call it a shapeless form because there is kind of a primal form. The abstracted creatures are walking around on all fours,
Yeah.
but they're covered in eyes and jutting black shapes.
Yeah. Essentially, you talked about Ragatha glitching out. I mean, that's essentially what this is. It's just a large glitch.
Mm-hmm.
Like you cannot maintain your own form anymore, and you are glitched out, and you aren't able to communicate in any way, and you're trapped in your own hell.
Absolutely. So do we want to go episode by episode then? Or
Yeah. There's only 9 here. I mean, we can do episode by episode. I'm fine with that.
Okay, so yeah, our first episode, we have Pomni showing up in the circus, being unable to remember her name, wondering, she says that she simply showed up, put a virtual reality headset on, and now she can't get it off.
Yeah, like I said, that's what hooked me. I was like, "Ooh, this is a neat concept here." So I didn't put a whole lot of stock into it because I was like, soon after that, we get the appearance of Kane, who is pretty much our AI games master, if you want to put him that way. And I thought that's kind of like how these episodes were going to continue. But yeah, again, it's a neat concept to be like, okay, this person, we're stuck in the Matrix here, and this is the Matrix. It's a damn circus.
Mm-hmm. There's also a lot to be said about the archetypes that each of these characters show up. Again, Pomni shows up in her form is now as a jester. We have Kinger, who is a chess piece. Zubul, who is based off of one of those mix and match toys that were really popular, I think, in the 90s.
Yep.
You have a Jax, a purple rabbit. You have Ragatha, who's very obviously based off of like a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yep.
And Gangle, who is interesting because she has the comedy mask on top of the tragedy mask. So it's a comedy and tragedy, and the comedy mask constantly breaks.
There's a lot of inference, or what would you like to call that, commentary there about people wearing masks. And I mean, as we go forward throughout the season, we learn a lot more about her character. And yeah, Gangle, you talk about the comedy mask, her body is just like one big
ribbon. Yeah,
one big ribbon. So again, yeah, interesting character design. You cannot deny it. That the Kane, by the way, if you've ever played Mario Party 8, I could not get the image of the hat guy that welcomes you into the game, and he sounds almost just like him. And he's just a set of eyes on a hat. But anyway, that's what reminded me. That's what Kane reminded me of, was the hat guy from Mario Party 8. But anyway, Kane. Best way to describe him is a pair of teeth with eyeballs inside and a big hat on top. And he's got feet. He's got a cane, if I remember correctly. And he's very much he brings me to he's a circus director. What do you call these? A ringmaster.
Ringmaster, yeah.
There we go. Yeah. So, and then we talked about Bubble, his little sidekick Bubble, who just has a swearing problem, which that's funny too, where we cannot swear in this show, or let's try that again. We cannot swear in the Amazing Digital Circus, at least right now. Anytime somebody does, we get the comedic black box with a bunch of little symbols that pops up. So that makes it pretty funny.
Not just that, anytime they flip off someone, it covers that up. It is a family affair.
Yes, it is. But yeah, it's clearly at the end of episode 1, and many of the episodes don't end on like this big cliffhanger or this big victory of some sort. It's almost like a real kind of, I don't know, muted sort of ending. It's dark. This one, if I remember correctly, like they have to put down Kaufmo. Well, not put him down. I shouldn't say that. They sent him to the cellar. And it's Kane who's just like, oh, okay, there he goes, snaps his fingers, and down to the cellar he goes. And then they have to, I don't think they have the funeral here, but they have to kind of like deal with the fact like one of their own is gone. And I think they just have like a dinner or something. Is this the one? At this episode, did they like have a funeral for him, or is it
funerals at the end of episode 2?
Okay, all right. But regardless, it's a sad ending in my opinion. I don't think it's very, it's definitely not something that makes you go, oh my goodness, I can't wait to come back to this. Am I going to be getting this every episode? It's kind of sad. But that's one thing that this show does, and I think it does well. It will shine a spotlight on some of the more solemn aspects of people's personalities, their livelihood, their lives, and also how to deal with that. But I don't want to jump too far ahead. What else do you have on episode 1?
Mostly that I went back and rewatched it after the finale, and it just kind of caught me how many little Easter eggs and breadcrumbs were in there.
Yeah.
You have the scene, Pomni finds what she thinks is an exit and goes through just essentially it's like back rooms, office version.
It's a big loop.
Trying to find her way out. And it's not till later on the series you realize just how important that exit actually is.
Yeah. I have a theory. Like when you're seeing the door, the symbol of the exit sign and the way that it looked, I was like, you don't be going through the door. And because the sign legitimately says exit and it points a direction, it doesn't say exit through this door. And I was like, I wonder if like all she has to do, but no, she's so like, number one, if you are put in that position, if you were thrown into, this crazy virtual reality world and you could not get out of it, you're not going to be thinking straight. So her thoughts are just like, go through the door. She keeps going through the door. She ends up in the void, I think. And then Kane ends up grabbing her back out of there, which, again, episode 1, we were adding so much like to the lore of what is going on here in this program or what's going on in the circus. And then you just get a little taste of it and you're brought right back. So a perfect way of giving the viewers something to take off with. And like I said, man, Lost did something very similar. Theories were just abound with Lost. You had no answers and everybody was trying to figure out answers. That's a perfect way to get viewers to really enjoy the film or enjoy the show after it's over with, to be able to talk to other people about it. And that's what's really makes a show enjoyable.
So we have that along with the in-house adventure with the Gloinks and the Gloink Queen.
More on the Gloink Queen later. We'll learn a little bit more about the Gloinks. That's silly.
I do love Zubal's reaction at the end. It's like, wait, Pomni wasn't here. I thought this whole thing was for her. Yeah. A lot of good stuff in this first episode. I mean, just like I said, just sprinkling everything throughout there, and then giving it a goofy adventure to start things off. So, and that kicks us into episode 2. And you know what? I'm actually going to pull up the episode list here so I can actually read off the names here. Candy Carrier Chaos. This is our first real adventure with the team as they are sent to the Candy Kingdom, where bandits have stolen a tanker full of maple syrup. And our characters now are entrusted by the princess of the Candy Kingdom to go get it back.
Yep.
And this actually introduces my personal favorite character, Gummy Goo.
Gummy Goo.
I love Gummy Goo.
Yes. So Gummy Goo is an NPC. Gummy Goo. And now what we start to learn is that Kane is responsible for setting up all these NPCs and these adventures that he sends them on. But things go a little awry for Gummy Goo and Pomni here when they fall through the map, which is a fun little nod to some stuff that happens in games. Sometimes you may accidentally fall through the map and you don't know, you land in some kind of weird off, unprogrammed spot or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like something that's some kind of glitch happened. And
exactly.
That's what happens to both of them here, which leads to Gummy Goo having a pretty big existential crisis.
crisis.
Right? Like he sees Oh my goodness, there's a word for this. It's like the character map, I think is what it is, or
something like that. Yeah, I know that when you design characters, they are often left in a format in that the A line position with their arms out like that.
right.
And yeah, actually, it's kind of funny. Again, this also shows just we find out later that someone comments that Kane has trouble with cube collisions, and that's what causes them to glitch and to get back out up onto the map. And the fact that while falling, Gummigoo hits models of the Utah Teapot, which is a standard programming assignment.
Oh, okay. I wondered what the hell all the teapots were doing there, and I was like, so I got my wife to watch at least the first 2 episodes. This is one she didn't stick out with me, but I looked at her and I said, what is up with the teapots? I have no idea. So that's interesting. That's well-researched stuff right there.
This is a very interesting show to watch if you know anything about computer science. My ex-husband is a software engineer, and he watched that episode with me. And yeah, even he was laughing hard when Gummigoo hit the teapots because he recognized those teapots, and he thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. That's a great little nod. Again, I'm sure there are so many like Easter eggs that probably flew over my head that are in here. And again, that's another hallmark of a show that will take off, in my opinion. I mean, people can point out things. Oh, I didn't see that. So that's awesome. Yeah. And then watching Gummigoo, he has this existential crisis. They make their way back up to the map. They have an extra syrup tanker so they can, and which, by the way, these crocodiles or whatever they were, it sounds like they were stealing for a pretty benevolent reason. They were trying to like save like their mom or save the town with this syrup.
They said something like this much syrup will save a whole lot of people. So
yeah, so they were trying to do something good and they had to steal it, but anyway, they end up with an extra tanker full of syrup from the character map or whatever, and bring it down. Basically, send it off with that. But Pomni, kind of develops an attachment to Gummigoo here, and they talk him into coming back to the I don't know what you would call it, the Digital Circus. Basically out of the adventure with them, and that lasts about 30 seconds, not even that. After Kane shows up, Kane's like, wait, you shouldn't be here, snaps his finger, and then Gummigoo's gone. And again, you're left with
traumatizing.
Yeah, you're left with heartbreak. Again, it's so sad. And then, this episode, we end on a funeral. So, and of course you're wondering what happened to Kaufmo. I mean, like who was Kaufmo? Who was he? And then we start to learn more characters, about more characters from the past. So you're just, again, it's lore that's just kind of in there, and you're wanting more. I want to know more.
I also like there's a little more you see a little bit more of the influence on Gooseworks when the characters are in the canyon. They fall into that giant fudge pit and they meet the character. What is it, the fudge? Is that is obviously inspired by the Greedy from the Raggedy Ann and Andy musical adventure of the 1970s. One of the trippier segments of that film.
If I said the Great and Mighty Pooh, would that ring a bell at all?
No.
Okay. So there was a video game called Conker's
Conker's Bad Hair Day.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure Conker fights a shit monster called the Great and Mighty Pooh, and he sings a song that he is the Great and Mighty Pooh. He will, oh my goodness, and I don't know the lyrics, but basically throw his shit on you. And that's what I thought of when I saw this guy. Most likely you are correct, but as many video game references as we have made so far, I don't know.
Admittedly, I know of that game. I was never allowed to play that game on my Nintendo 64. I had fairly conservative parents.
I can't
would not let that be played in my house.
This episode ends. I'm immediately going to YouTube and I'm sending you a link. So you wouldn't believe that was a bad game. That was not a fun. Or let's try it again. That was a very adult game.
Yes, it is. I know, because I make keychains of that one because everyone's like, because when they saw I was started making Nintendo 64 keychains, like, do you have Conker's Bad Day? And I'm like, I can make Conker's Bad. And yeah, now I always have to have Conker's Bad Day.
Conker's
And it
Bad
just kills
Fur Day.
me because, like, yeah, Fur Day. Thank you, not Hair Day, Fur Day. But yeah, it just kind of makes me laugh how many people who are my age come up there, and I'm just like, your parents let you play that?
I don't think I get a hold of a copy around where I live. They probably said nope, nobody was going to carry that. Oh man, but I've of course that was memed all to hell, and that's how I learned about it. So, trying to think if there's anything else in part 2. Anything else stick out to you, or I should say episode 2?
I do find it interesting that we get more of Jax's development and just kind of what a psychopath he is to start off. The way he gets mad that the episode ends without any blood or guts or violence or anything. The look on his face when he sees the defeated Fudge just laying there and he goes, I'm so disappointed right now. It's like, it's kind of disturbing.
Yeah.
Although then you find yourself laughing when you realize he snuck the key away from Ragatha to leave the gates open.
Yeah, Jax is clearly a disturbed character I don't know. A lot of it I kind of thought was played for laughs. I didn't realize how traumatized he was, I guess, as we find out later. But I was still like, okay, this guy's, he's cutting up. He's just having a good time with things. And yeah, he's definitely got a violent side to him, but we're in the middle of a game. It's a VR simulation, whatever. So I really didn't put that much thought into it, but he could be a jerk. He was definitely a jerk sometimes.
He does have my favorite line in the episode. What about us? We're one tanker away from being Augustus Glooped.
The old Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Like that was a good line.
Good one.
So move on to episode 3, The Mystery of Mildenhall Manor. A lot of my friends who I had so much fun introducing the show to a lot of my friends. I was like, you guys have got to check this show out. And I just told everyone, it's like, please go and watch this. And a lot of them said this is their favorite episode.
Yeah. Yeah. This right here, this will make you pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, our crew is sent on another adventure. It is a horror-themed adventure at Mildenhall Manor. They have to uncover the mystery of its ghostly inhabitants. Unfortunately, they end up getting split up with Pomni and Kinger getting dragged into the super spooky door, and the others taking the pacifist route because apparently Kane decided to give them a little more options for choices in this. While this is also going on, Zubul, who has refused to do the last handful of adventures, is in the middle of a therapy session with Kane against their will, which opens up a lot about Zubul's character. I found it very interesting. You learn, first of all, that they're non-binary. Because you hear Cable calling out for them. It's like, I made this more mature is the phrase used for them. And that Zubul also suffers from I think it's body dysmorphia is the term.
That makes sense with the her avatar or whatever or their avatar.
Yeah, that they can change out the parts, and they mention that they have yet to be able to find something that feels right, that the parts just don't seem to make them feel complete.
Yeah, that's a great way of kind of bringing that visually, that concept of feeling that way into a visual medium. That's not an easy thing to do. Sometimes, and that was very, very revelatory. Now we're starting to get into what makes these characters, what drives some of them, what's broken in them. So yeah, we get to learn a lot about Zubul here, and this episode is, like I said, first episode. I'm like, oh, this is. I'm expecting the formula to be, we're going to be on Zany Adventures, whatever. Hey, it's animated. All respect to the animators. Great job on the first episode and the second episode. And then the third episode hits, and they're in the, it's Pomni and Kinger, and they're in that basement.
The cellar,
yeah. And it's, the horror theme in this is great. You know, they're playing the tapes and they're listening to like this guy's journal about this thing that they killed. They see the head sitting on the wall, and you're just waiting for something to happen. And when the lights go out and all you see is their eyes,
oh my God,
then that thing comes alive behind them. Freaking horrifying. And I was just like, okay, you've got my attention. And I'll so probably about a month and a half ago, my TV broke. I have it was a Roku TV of some sort, and half of the TV screen went black. And legitimately, my son, I say black, it went dark. So basically, one of the LED lights behind it broke. So, mind you, we were in the middle of watching. My son is going through all the Marvel movies. We are in the middle of Thor showing up in Infinity War and just raising the battlefield. Right? And something happens to the side of the screen. I'm like, what just happened? Why is everything dark? Now we finished the movie out, and I'm like, we got to get a new TV. So I'm starting to look at some. I hadn't bought a TV in a while, and I bought what they call a oh my goodness, a QLED TV. Okay, it wasn't very expensive. But the point of it is that instead of like these larger LED lights behind that light the screen, they're much smaller, so the color is really pops. So we were able to watch Endgame, and it looked phenomenal. And let me tell you something: this show, that moment when the freaking face showed up behind them, it just jumped from the screen and looked fantastic. So if you watch this show, I absolutely want to tell you, watch it on a good TV, because the animation really, really comes alive on something that looks good. And it's not this, that was the first episode where I noticed it. There are more episodes where things happen that they animate, like the intermission sequence we'll probably talk about. That right there looked amazing. So this is the first time I've ever sat here and gushed about looking at animation and how well it was done. This is the show to do that for, though. I mean, because when that's like one of the selling points for this was like how everybody just loved how the animation looked when it first came out. It doesn't drop off in quality. It gets better from here, but
it does.
Yeah, back to the episode. That right there made me go, okay, now I'm paying attention. And I really started to appreciate what I was getting as far as story and concept here. And so my son, I don't know why, he watched the first episode and then he said he watched the last two episodes. That's what he told me before I started watching the show. So I'm watching the last two episodes and he watches them with me. And I'm like, dude, all this stuff that's coming back up from episodes previous that he missed. At the end, before I got down here, like 1 minute, 2 minutes before I got down here, I was like, let me just show you this one sequence. And I showed him this one in this episode where the eyeballs are there and then the monster comes alive. I wish I could have took a picture of my son's face because it was amazing. He was like, I don't want to see any more spoilers. He has made a plan now to go back and watch all the episodes. Oh, so perfect. Anyway, love this episode. This is probably top 3 of this season for me.
What's great is that you got some amazing horror elements in it, because I still remember first time I watched, and you're watching the eyes in the darkness and you're like, what's gonna, something's gonna happen. You are waiting for that shoe to drop, and you see the angel head just slowly come into view, and you are backing away from the two going, oh God, freaking out. I'm
laughing because you said angel head, and because we're all thinking at first it's like there's this horrible monster, run, and then they get to the next part of the journal and he's like, but I found out it was an angel, and please, and you're like, oh my gosh, no.
And then you get Kinger going, what? And I was like, that Kinger has some of that's the humor in this episode, because this is some of Kinger's best stuff. Again, I love right when it goes dark is like, well, this is some inconvenient lore placement, and this is some inconvenient darkness.
Yeah, he's got some good ones. He's
And
definitely
it's like,
got
this
some good
boat is going up. Wait, that's not up. Why isn't this going up?
Yep. That's where I had to stop it too. That's where Colton was like, I don't want to see any more. I've got to watch it on my own. But yeah, this was a great episode. I mean, my goodness.
The best part is the heart of this episode, and we get that Pomni and Kinger are effectively dragged into hell, as it were.
Yep.
By the way, there is an interesting parallel to this. In the first episode, when Kaufmo was put away, they say, and into the cellar you go. And then Kane has designed this, and they say they're in hell, and it's a cellar.
No.
Again, it never comes back into play, but I couldn't help but think it's like, is that what Kane thinks he's doing to the abstracted, putting them in hell? Is there a parallel between the hell that Pomni and Kinger are in now and the cellar that the abstracted have been forced into?
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I just thought it was like I don't know. I felt like the idea of them both being called cellars, just it was too. I felt like that had to have been done on purpose.
Again, a hallmark of a good show, where you can kind of, do the Charlie Day and run the red ribbon or the red string to like connecting these dots. And also, as a viewer or a consumer of the art and animation and in the story, that's your personal view of it. And I think you got some, you're making a great point there. So, but yeah, you talk about Pomni and Kinger here. They have a discussion, again, you probably remember it a little bit better than I do. I watched this one yesterday, and all I could do is dream about the horrifying face. But yeah, I remember them.
All I could do was dream about what was easily a Miyazaki level moment of the piano music with our characters walking out of the cellar with Kinger glowing. Something about that was just transcendentally. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, I was like, I'm trying to make this sound a lot smarter than I probably am, but it was just such a gorgeous scene. And the little speech that Kinger gives to Pomni, we find out more about Kinger, that he kind of is insane, but when he's in darkness, he can think more clearly. This is why he's got his little impenetrable fortress, as he calls it, the pillows. And he's much more lucid when he talks to Pomni, and he just talks to her. It's like, you're much stronger than you realize, and the worst thing you can do to a person is make them feel like they don't belong, or they're not worthy, or something like that. And it is such a beautiful moment, especially when they figure out how to escape the cellar by holding their breath. But Pomni knows if they get out of there, Kinger's just going to go back to being insane again.
Yeah,
they're going to go back to the light. And she's like, you're not going to remember any of this. And Kinger has made peace with it. And he goes, I won't, but you will. And that means everything.
Yeah.
And again, you have this gentle piano music as they walk. And we learned earlier in the episode that whenever every character holds their breath, something different happens. Pomni starts color shifting, and Kinger starts glowing. And it's not something you would say it's like written on paper sounds beautiful, but Kinger lighting up with this piano music surrounded by those lost souls, which again sounds so weird, but it touches you. You really feel the magic of that moment.
Yeah. Learning when they decide to take a moment to talk, and not in just this episode, but other episodes as well. I think our writers here, they're smart enough to let that take as much time as it needs to. There are some decently long conversations that happen in some lulls here that if you listen to what is being said, it's something that it's going to leave an impression on you. Few more moments of that happen in this season where two characters maybe get together and have a heart to heart almost. And Zubul and oh my goodness, Gangle,
yeah.
Oh yeah, their conversations. They have a couple more here as the season goes on. These people are learning to listen to their friends. They're also trying to figure out, obviously, how to exist in this strange world. But they also start to realize that they kind of need to work on themselves. It takes a good friend to kind of walk you through that sometimes. And this is kind of one of the first moments where I think that happens. Like Kinger sitting down and talking to Pomni like he did and having that long, a conversation with her. That friend is there to help you. And that's kind of what we get. Those are going to happen more often here as we go through the season. But yeah, good stuff, man. Episode 3, good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I do love that they occasionally cut back to the others, and they're apparently just having a very easy time of things.
Right.
And they show Jack's tied up in the wagon, and we never get an explanation for what happened.
That's great. That is good stuff. Good stuff.
And so let's go to episode 4, Fast Food Masquerade. A couple of different things happen here. Number 1, Gangle gets a plastic comedy mask that is not so easily breakable. Zubul found it for her. And she decides to wear that for the rest of the day. I've seen so many people wearing like paper cutout masks of the happy mask with the star and the spiral.
Oh, really? Oh,
everyone loves that.
That's great.
We find out that there is a suggestion box that the others have put suggestions in for adventures, which Kane completely forgot about. And he decides to go with the suggestion that they just have an honest, hard day's work at a fast food restaurant.
Spudsies.
And Zubul's not getting out of this one because Kinger decides to sit out, so Zubul's got to go and flip those burgers.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you could go ahead and take my place. I'll set this one out. And they're like, that's not how this works. Too bad. Yeah, this is, my goodness. If you've worked in fast food, you're going to feel some feels when you watch this episode.
That line, if you got time to lead, you got time to clean.
Oh,
I know a lot of people who probably wanted to throw something at the TV when they heard that, just out of reflex.
Yep, I heard that one. I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken, I think, for, gosh, when I started 17 years old all the way up to like 2021. And I mean, that's the way it is. And you watch Gangle become the supervisor. Mm-hmm. And this is where I was like, I could kind of catch on that the mask thing meant something. Mm-hmm. But here it's very evident, she's trying to put on the happy mask, and the happy mask is clearly that it's your mask to everybody else that you're happy. This is my thing. And this one thing, being the supervisor, being the leader, trying to, lead a team, is you want that to be the one thing that you succeed at and makes you happy. But really, what's happening underneath the mask? You're miserable.
Exactly.
You're not happy. And I mean, I was looking at TV Time. I was going in and looking at some of the comments as I was after I'd watched the episode, and when there were a lot of people that identified with Gangle and her and their struggle, trying to, just make it and feel like they're making something of themselves when in fact it's just you're another large piece. It's hard to get past the fact that you're a large cog in a much larger machine. So it's sad. But the good thing is like at the end, when this whole day shift is over, well, the whole day, because it starts for breakfast, they do a double, as we used to say.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
Gangle's there from opening to closing.
And then Gangle walks outside, and you could tell that, well, as the episode progresses, there's moments where you're just like, this is not fulfilling for this person at all. Like Gangle is not, as much as they're trying to seem like they're enjoying themselves or, you know, keeping that happy face on for the team. They're not. And then when they get out and the shift's over, they feel free, which, you know, is great. But yeah, we get some interesting moments here. Gummy Goo comes back, but unfortunately does not remember Pomni.
He's just a blank NPC, so he has no recollection of his pre. I do like that they established that Kane tends to reuse the NPCs, and we do see various characters coming back. We're introduced to Orbsman, who we'll see a couple more times. The Glowing Queen comes back
and orders 300 kids.
Well, yeah, 300 cheeseburgers from my lovable spawn.
Yeah. Ragatha gets some stupid sauce in her eye and does about 85% of the episode she's high. And she can't, I mean, absolutely just blitzed out of her mind. And she's trying, but she starts to get, you know, you could tell she's getting a little bit free with her thoughts there. But I can tell you that each one of these people, each one of these characters kind of represented, I could pick out people that I worked with.
Oh, yeah.
That I was like, okay, that's that person. That's that person. Jax was, gosh, what? Who was the guy from Clerks that you would probably compare him to? The guy that
Randall.
barely, yes, it's Randall. That's who that reminded me of.
Although the retraining sequence that channeled the Silver Shamrock video from Halloween 3 freaking killed me. That was great.
Yes. The hands just come out and grab Jackson, bring him back in. Yeah. Like, how did you have time to make this?
First of all, are you smiling? No. Why not? We also learned a lot more about Gangle's backstory. She mentions that she did work for a fast food place, when she was, or you know, before she entered the circus. And in the video, she mentions, it's like, I know what you're saying. I don't want to work at fast food. I want to be an artist and launch my own anime-based webcomic or something like that. But then you learn that dreams are stupid.
Yep.
And again, anyone who has tried to make it as an artist but has to work a day job or just slave wage of some kind just to keep your head afloat, oh my God, that hits hard.
It does. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of commentary in this episode about just, you know, again, wage slave is the right word. Unfortunately, that's all you are working for McDonald's. I think I find it it's hard to look at the dream that you want to aspire to when you got to go in there and serve up some burgers that night. But it is, again, everything that you hear in this episode is stuff that you've probably heard if you worked fast food. So,
especially if you're someone who's had to work a job like this and you suffer from depression, it's clear that that's what the comedy mask and the tragedy mask represent. You know, maybe even bipolar depression.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But because every time someone insults Gangle or insults a job or whatever, her face doesn't fluctuate because of the comedy mask, but you hear what sounds like glass breaking.
Oh yeah, she gets a twitch. There's a twitch, like you see her, you know, the eye just kind of twitches. You hear the glass kind of break, and she's trying to keep it together.
And again, I've suffered through really bad depression most of my life, and I know what it's like when you have to work something or be a part of something, and you cannot show how upset you are. You cannot show your struggle. You've got to hide it down. Whether, you know, you're trying to just be professional or it's just, you know, get through this. You could, you know, cry later. And it's painful. And
yes.
You feel just all of this weight that Gangle is carrying. Although I do love the bit when Jack says, like, I think the clock is broken, and Gangle goes on this mass speech, like, he's like, how long have we been working here? Will we ever fulfill our dreams? Oh yeah, that clock is broken.
Yeah.
I also do love that we see just how much these characters are coming together. Pomni, first Zubul agrees to stay longer to take care of Ragatha, and then Pomni agrees to close up because she can tell Gangle's at her breaking point.
Yeah. Yeah. This is where, again, these people have been brought together and they start to kind of become friends. They start to realize that, okay, this person needs help. And they make a conscious effort to help them. Zubul and Pomni are great for that right now. And each of them, again, have this characterization. Jax is not going to be the one that sticks around and helps you out. He's definitely the guy that's going to take off early if he can. But once you start seeing somebody struggle, you have to. Are you going to make that effort to help them out and try and get them through the day? There's a lot about friendship in so many of these episodes. So this is another great example of that.
And now we go to Untitled. This is actually my personal favorite episode. After another adventure, Kane is trying to get feedback from the rest and decides, you know what? I still have the suggestion box. We're going to do a lightning round.
Yeah.
And we're just going to go rapid pace through your suggestions. And we get a million different scenarios that everyone has suggested throughout. So we have Jax is a poacher.
Oh yeah, he's got like 5 of them here at the beginning or something.
We got Pomni as the president of the United States.
Yep.
We have an anime-based theme, which was freaking hilarious. Actually, seeing that drawn in 2D, in classic anime 2D style.
It was.
We have stargazing. We have a film noir. We have them playing softball. So this is a really fun look at what motivates each of the characters. The poachers one, especially the poacher one, just makes me laugh so hard because Kate gives them the right to vote to skip past episodes. And the minute that they start the Poacher's Paradise, Zubul says, call it a vote. We're skipping this one. Oh, and I'm also voting that we make Jax a vegan.
Which is not the only change they're going to do this episode, which to poor Jax here. It's so funny. My goodness. Yeah, this was, oh my god. How would I liken this? Rick and Morty's interdimensional cable, where you're getting a rapid fire, like, let's get these guys into these situations. Let's see what happens. And yeah, the gag with the votes, hilarious. We end up getting the second, my probably, possibly, it's in my top 3 favorite animation sequences, is the intermission that happens in here.
I know. It's so weird. I don't know why the intermission is just so enjoyable. The music makes it work. The loose style of all the animation working with the music. The intermission is so pleasing.
It is.
To watch. It's kind of bizarre to explain, but God, I love it.
Yeah. Then we end up in the final act of this is them at the softball game. And we get the evil versions of them. And the evil version of Jax is like,
nice.
is a nice guy, which is pretty funny. But this is where
Gangle didn't get an evil clone.
Oh yeah, poor Gangle. Another thing to cry about too, which is just horrible. But yeah, this is where like Pomni kind of starts gravitating toward Jax a little bit. Jax, as much of a jerk as he is, there's a fun side to him that Pomni starts to kind of realize, and that's going to take off much more, I think, in the next episode. But here, Ragatha's starting to have some issues with where Pomni's going. Like, she feels like she may have failed Pomni in some way, if I remember correctly. But yeah, the evil version softball game was hilarious. Like, home runs were basically just standing around. It's just, there was no rhyme or reason as to what was going on. I don't know. Oh my goodness. This has got my favorite, my goodness. Okay. Favorite side character. Disappearing guy.
Oh yeah.
When disappearing guy shows up at one point, and then he shows up to do the anthem, and he gets like through like a hose, and then he disappears.
Oh, so
And he's going to show back up again. It's a great gag. I love Disappearing Guy. We do have to talk about these like little NPCs that are running around. They look like wooden dolls of some sort. I don't know what you call them.
They're okay. So I don't know exactly what they're called, but they sell these dolls in art students to practice how to
Like
pose
figures?
a body. Yeah, they're
Okay.
you can move them. They're connected by wires, and you can move them into various poses. And it's a great way to practice, how the body would move,
Mhm.
without asking somebody to hold an annoying pose for 20 hours while you're trying to draw it.
Okay. Well, the place is filled with these.
Yeah,
Like
those
it
are.
is. Go ahead.
It kind of reminds me of the Rooster Teeth show Ruby. All of the background characters are just silhouettes. So you kind of get the idea. It's like this was a cost-cutting measure, but it also makes a whole lot of sense that they can just copy and paste all of these wooden doll effects without having to add a ton of different varieties aside from maybe a few different shades.
Yeah. Well, Disappearing Guy is a version of those, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, Disappearing Guy is great. I don't know what else I got here on this episode. What do you got?
I still remember the loud gasp that I uttered during the stargazing episode when Pomni asks Jax, "Do you even have any real friends?" And Ragatha goes, "Not anymore."
Oh,
And
yeah.
the look he gives her, I literally just, oh
Yeah.
my God, that was such a drop.
Yeah. You're wondering what happened. Another thing that kind of makes you like, are we going to get an answer as to what's going on? And the good thing is that we're going to learn a lot more about Jax's past. But yeah, they're kind of, again, just kind of giving you little bits to keep you hooked as to what actually happened prior to this. And that it is important. It's very important. I will say, as we're making our way through here, one of the things that I really appreciated about the show was the continuity. I mean, we definitely had some continuity. Different characters would show back up. We talked about Gummy Goose showing back up. Disappearing Guy will show back up. So we had what was the beast again? That with the 300 kids. I cannot remember what it was called.
Queen.
Yes. So again, there are side characters that do stick around. They're not just there to serve a purpose of one episode and go away. They will show back up again, and I appreciate that.
Again, this episode just got a lot of little in jokes that are so funny. You have the scene of Pomni being president, and it turns out that she didn't get a brief on her character, so she just has to wing it.
Yes. Yeah. What was it? This is the one where at the very end, there's this suspicious mannequin or wooden guy just kind of looking. And I was waiting for it to be Disappearing Guy again. Like I thought maybe they're going to do that gag one more time. Like he's just looking around a rock and then he disappears. But no, this guy looks and then he ducks back behind the rock. And you're like, what is that about? Again,
we're not going to find that out for another 2 episodes.
Yeah, we've got to wait to figure out what's going on there. So neat way of like hooking you for something and getting the crowd going, getting your viewers like, who is this dude? What was that about? Perfect.
And that brings us to episode 6. They all get guns.
They all get guns.
So we have
that's a good one.
Oh, this is great. Because this one, it's not my favorite episode, but it has my all-time favorite moment of the series in this episode.
Okay, all right.
So Kane is planning for the favorite character award, so he doesn't really have time to plan an adventure. So he essentially decides to do a battle royale. He tells them you're going to be paired up into 2s. There are guns hidden throughout the circus. Everyone gets 3 lives. Last team standing wins. And this also brings in, again, we're getting a lot of development on Jax.
Yes.
Pomni has apparently been hanging out with him, and she wants to be teamed up with Ragatha, but Ragatha says, well, we can't have Kinger and Jax together. And she goes, okay, well, why don't I go with Kinger? And then Ragatha's like, wait, that means I have to be with Jax? And Pomni said, she goes, look, I can handle Jax. I'll go team up with him. You take care of Kinger. Gangle and Zubul are together.
There's a little bit of, if you're looking at it, you're thinking jealousy. You know, that we find out a little bit more that it's not exactly that, but you think that Ragatha's jealous because Pomni is hanging out with Jax now. So anyway, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
I think you also get the worry that Pomni is going to start turning into Jax. That Jax is going to sort of be an
corrupt.
Corrupt her very much so.
Mm-hmm.
But it is hilarious. Again, this is just a full free for all with the characters running around shooting each other. Jax convinces Pomni just to kind of give in to being an archetype. He has what is admittedly a really good speech when he talks about, you know, it's like, just you can be whatever you want to be in the circus, you know. And Pomni says, you know what, screw it, I'm going to be evil. Let's go. You know, I have guns. I'm just going to be evil today. We're going to go shoot everyone. And she and Jax are so much fun to watch.
Oh yeah,
as they're running around shooting everyone.
Right. I mean, Jax
sounds weird.
Well, it's okay. So let me just set this up that my oldest son, 16-year-old son, sees that I'm like, I don't know, 4 episodes in. He goes, "Dad, what are you watching?" So I'm watching the Amazing Digital Circus. He's like, "Oh, okay." He goes, "Wait a second." So he stops and he's looking at the TV. He goes, "That bunny character's in Fortnite." So Jax,
they just added Pomni and Jax to Fortnite. By the way, nice little comment here from Carolyn. Ragatha definitely thinks that Pomni is going to become Jax. Yeah.
So this is a perfect like Fortnite-esque episode. When you look at it, they're running around grabbing these guns. They each got 3 hearts above their heads. But yeah, you watch Pomni. I mean, at some point, if you start to realize you're in this virtual world, why not? You know, it's just like, okay, well, obviously I can't die. I've tried to hold my breath, and you know, even though I feel like I got to breathe, you don't breathe. Like, you don't have to eat. You're going to run kind of like the Groundhog Day gamut of like emotions and realizations. Like, okay, nothing matters anymore. Let's go electrocute myself with a toaster. So she's come to that point where she's like, well, just screw it. You know, this guy looks like he's having a lot of fun. I'm going to hang out with him for a little bit. And yeah, Ragatha's worried about that because she knows a lot more about Jax than Pomni does. And I think that's also another thing that kind of it influences how she feels as to what's going on. But as for the episode itself, yeah, it was a ton of fun. Okay, so what's your favorite moment in this episode? I know what mine is.
It's when they corner Zubul in her room because
yes,
because earlier in the episode, Zubul mentions that when she tries to just hide in her room, Kane steps outside singing Daisy Bell.
Yeah, this is
good. So when they corner her in her room, Jax decides, it's like, let's have a little fun here, and he and Pomni start singing Daisy Bell.
That's good. That's a good one. I will say mine. Am I interrupting you? Did you finish it? It was definitely Daisy Bell for you.
My 2 favorite things in this whole series is, because I forgot to mention it. My other favorite one is episode 3 with the "please don't come alive." Okay, I won't. I laugh hysterically no matter how many times I see that episode. That part kills me.
Yeah, that's good. That's a great line. So, okay, my favorite part of this episode is Zubul and Gangle running away from Jax and Pomni. And as they're running down this long tube, like there's a moment, which this isn't my favorite moment, but there's a moment where I think they're still following us. Are you guys still following us? Yeah, we're still following you.
Where else would we be? Yeah, they're following us.
But the whole beginning, once this starts, Gangle's after one weapon.
That's the Tommy gun. We need to find the Tommy gun.
And they get back, they get around that corner, and Gangle turns, and there's the Tommy gun just kind of sitting there spinning. And when Gangle gets a hold of it, I mean, it's happy face all the way, and it's unleashing all these bullets. That was a great moment in this episode. This episode was a lot of fun. And again, I think there's there's moments in here that they take their time, and there's an emotional connection that happens. But this was a lot of fun. I don't know if you have anything else on this episode or not.
There is a lot of heart in it, but it comes in very different ways. So Kinger and Ragatha are the first ones to go out. Oh God, I love Kinger getting just like, I hope you're ready for my ricochet super move, and he accidentally shoots himself.
Is this the moment? Yes. Is this the moment where he says, oh my gosh, he says something like oh crap. He says something like, I'm right behind you.
Behind
no, he doesn't
you,
say
aren't
yeah, I'm right behind you, aren't I? Oh man. And they're once they lose, they have to go down to loser corner. That's where we have the conversations.
Which is in the dark.
Yep.
So Kinger is more lucid, and he has because Ragatha feels like, yeah, she's worried she's alienating Pomni, and that's going to further corrupt her and turn her into the new Jax. And Kinger is like a father figure to a lot of the characters here, and he gives her a really touching speech about being there, but also being there for yourself. Mm-hmm. He's like, you can't constantly put yourself out there. You need a break. It's okay. It's like you can't just always throw yourself under the bus for Pomni. And then you have an amazing speech from Zubul to Gangle when they're just taking a break before they go back to looking for guns, about their character dynamics. They're the only ones that have their avatars are, I don't know if you want to call it adjustable, but they're the only ones that the avatars are affected. Zubul could take her parts, off and swap them out, and Gangle's got the mask. And it's really rough on Gangle. And I love the line. It's like, how are you supposed to love something like that? And Zubul goes, because it's a part of you.
Yeah.
It's funny that in this episode, Jax goes on archetypes, talks about, it's like Ragatha's the happy one, Kinger's the crazy one, Zubul's the grouchy one, and Gangle's the sad one. And they all completely go against that. You have Kinger being lucid, you have Ragatha crying, you have Zubul being inspiring, and you have Gangle laughing like crazy. It just really proves that. But that also goes to what is probably the hardest bit to watch after Jax and Pomni have won the game, and Pomni realizes that she really can't reach Jax. She is trying to be friends with him, and even after everything they did and all the fun they had, he's pushing her away.
Yeah, you see these like small cracks in the facade sometimes, and you're like, okay, we know Jax is a jerk, but there's got to be a reason for it. And he has a tremendous ability to push people away, and you're waiting to see somebody make a connection with him. As soon as he feels the connection start to happen, he immediately tries to take some kind of action to snuff that connection out. And that's what's very evident in that conversation, because what I love about it is, like, she doesn't just walk away and sulk. She calls his ass on it. And she's like, you're not doing this. And he's trying to dismiss her. And then she gets, agitated and quite angry.
Yeah,
she's throwing stuff at him and like jumps on him.
Yeah, right. She's trying to get him to fight back. And that Betty's like, you are my playthings. I'm not some little chicken fetus in a shell who needs to be saved. Something like that. Right. But it's kind of terrifying to see him just not even break down. It's the opposite of breaking down. Just build the walls up more. That's
exactly right. He's trying to cut himself off from any connection to anybody. And it's this episode where I'm like, okay, this guy, something's broken him. And as much as Pomni very much wants to fix things. As a matter of fact, I think that happened. That is said. I think she says that in like one of the last episodes. But she wants to fix people, but not I don't think that's what's driving her here. She just wants to connect with this guy, and she thinks it's ridiculous that he's just immediately going right back into, I've played you all. I don't, and she knows that he's just trying to avoid a connection, and it's sad to watch her get so angry and him not react or at least give in. But we understand what we'll find out later is why.
And of course, we had what is admittedly a very creepy post-credit scene. Kane loses the favorite character, or it goes to the joke character Ming.
Good old Ming with the googly eyes.
But when he pulls out, I was like, let's see how many of them actually voted for me, and none of them voted, and he starts to glitch. And that's I think that was the moment a lot of us realized something really bad is about to happen.
Oh yeah. This is going to be good, because as we reach things, I wasn't expecting, and granted, I might be projecting. You and I, we've had our discussions about AI, at least, our jokes about AI, but I didn't realize there is going to be somewhat of a conversation about artificial intelligence, at least as we get more towards this episode, or towards the end of this season. But yeah, here you have an AI of some sort that is having an issue with, the fact that people don't love him. So anyway, next up,
the beach episode.
This has my first clip that I showed my son after we watched this, because he didn't get a chance to watch this episode. The treasure hunt clip with the fish. I'll just go ahead and say it's a very simple clip of about 30 seconds to a minute, where we get introduced to these two fish. One who's definitely doesn't want you to get his treasure. The other is his brother, who doesn't lie. Or no way, excuse me, he does lie.
I'm the one who tells, like, dude, you ruined it.
That's like, it has nothing to do with the episode. It's just these two goofy looking fish. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Apparently, those fish are inspired by a 1997 children's Christian cartoon called Gaither's Pond. Infamous for its uncanny CGI models.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
They looked goofy, and they definitely looked out of place. So
very much so. So Kane tells the others that, you know what, I don't have an adventure for today. Why don't you guys go check out the grounds, And there's a digital lake outside the circus tent. So the characters decide, let's go to the beach. Let's just relax. And of course, that doesn't last long when that hidden NPC-looking character that we had seen at the end of episode 5 shows back up.
Yeah, there's a moment where I think Pomni's like looking around, and she sees, that little head sticking out from behind a rock, and sure enough, it's Abel. I think is what the the wooden
what he
guy
calls
goes
himself.
by.
Yeah.
And yeah, we get treated to what appears to be like, okay, we're taking the gloves off. Abel's here to kind of let us know what the Digital Circus is, and maybe there's possibly a way to escape.
Of course, before that, we have to deal with what is one of the trippier segments, but also I think one of the freakier segments, and that is Jax clearly almost abstracting.
Oh, yeah.
That whole sequence of him laying in bed, and then you got the fractal design. And at first I was just thinking, what's going on? But then when he wakes up when the doorbell rings and you look, his eyes are flashing colors, and you realize that's what happened. That's what happened to the eyes in the abstracted characters. And I just remember forgetting, like, oh my God. Because I honestly thought he was going to abstract at the end of the They All Get Guns when he's having that panic attack in the bathroom.
After they, Pomni and him have this, blow up, Jax becomes more detached. Like, he's not as jokey and as having much fun as he was before. People will reach out to him, and he, of course, shuts the door as much as he can. He doesn't let anybody in. There's a conversation I think Zubul has with him. And yeah, as he's making his way, obviously these guys are having a good day at the beach. he doesn't want to be a part of it. So he makes his way back to his room. Is this where he passes by oh my goodness, I always forget his name. I want to call him Rudolph or something. It's the clown. Who was the clown? Who was the clown that Moth passes by his door? And we already knew he passed away or abstracted, excuse me. And we see the X. And then he takes one look to I think right after that, and he sees Ribbit, which is a character we come to learn the name of, but it's a frog with a little X. And you could tell that one stung. And then when he's laying in bed, he's got all those Polaroids. This is so dark. Like he's got all these Polaroids on his wall and they're all turned around. So he can't be reminded of who they are. And he grabs one and turns it around and he's looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
So it, you could tell he's bothered. You could tell that he's in a depression of some sort. He feels like he has to be away from the group. He's not somebody that hurts people on purpose. He's somebody that realizes he's hurting them, and then feels tremendously, I think, guilty about it. Although he will never show you that on the end in any way. He doesn't want you to understand that he feels bad about how he's making other people feel. But he'll go to his room and he'll, I think he definitely feels bad in some way. But yeah, and then he starts looking at obviously some of the stuff that happened. We get an idea of that something happened in the past between him and these people. And we've been getting clues all season so far, but yeah, it's not looking good for Jax.
Definitely. So Pomni shows up with this NPC who says he's not an NPC, says that he is another human who's just kind of been lost into the background because the form he was chosen is a blank mannequin doll. So he, Kane just kind of lost track of him.
Kane doesn't know he's actually an actual human player, supposedly.
And says, I think I know a way for us to get out of there. And he talks to them about the idea of CNA and these humans being plugged into pods. And Jax is all ready to not trust it. He says, what's going to happen when we get through with this? We're going to do everything you say. And then Kane's going to pop out and go, congratulations on beating the Escape the Circus adventure or something like that. But the others are just refusing to give up. And Abel shows them how to get to their office or get to Kane's office. And this ending really feels like a sucker punch. You realize how long Kane has been planning it because of how far back we saw Abel, hiding in the background of the circus.
Yep. And
Jax's breakdown, just crying while he is laughing. Like, I was right. I can't believe I was right.
Yeah. Well, so that whole decision's interesting because Jax, they all have to make a decision as to whether they're going to push this button. It comes down to the red button or the blue button, red pill, blue pill, whatever you want here. He has to they have to make a decision because if they push, I think the blue button, the Digital Circus stops and they go back to reality. The red button, if they push the red button, and I could be getting this backwards, but if they push the red button, they stay in the Digital Circus. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, the big question is who's going to push the button and which button are they going to push? Everybody's like, well, clearly we're going to push the one that ends this thing. And I think Pomni gets the idea of trying to get Kinger to make a decision. Nobody is, behind that because he's not exactly in his right mind usually.
Well, yeah, because right before she goes to the office, Abel gives her kind of a cryptic note of make the right choice.
Right. And
she's starting to think is something else going on? But she's fully aware. She knows when there's an extra clue has been added. And she's really worried. It's like that Abel was giving her a hint that this is not what it seems.
Yeah.
And she's really worried. It's like, are we supposed to press the blue button? Is this really what we're supposed to do? And yeah, Jax has a breakdown and hits the red button.
Right. And there are key moments, little flashes that kind of like show you what's going through his head, like right before he makes the decision, I believe. And they're real images. In other words, it's
Mhm.
not animated. You see like a road, you see something. So something's going, you can tell that something's going through his head that's making him decide to make this decision. And we later learn, obviously, that there's probably a good reason why he hit the red button and wanted to stay in the Digital Circus. By the way, there's a moment where Abel's been trying to not get Kinger involved in this whole thing.
Mhm.
I think at one time Pomni's like, hey, should we get Kinger? And he's like, I would just wait on that. Well, when they finally get, say, hey, Kinger, we are working with this guy by the name of Abel. You might have worked with him. And Kinger's like, who? So right there, we find out shortly after the button is pushed that, yes, this was all certainly a test by Kane. Kane shows up, and this was all a ruse. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kinger said, it's like, escape the circus. That can't be right. And again, you realize he is becoming more lucid. Again, this show is fascinating to rewatch after you watch the ending and you know how things are going to go, because you realize all of these clues that Gooseworks put in that you didn't pick up on, and you're watching and you go, oh my God, I get it now. Yeah. It's one of those that are rewatchable and more enjoyable the second time sometimes. This this thing gets, I'm just looking at some of the stuff that happened in here. This gets a 9.5 on IMDb. This episode really hits. And yeah, you're right. Jack's just completely, this has tipped him over the edge, I think. Definitely. And not to mention, this is kind of the breaking point for most of the other characters. When they realize that they have been led this far, that they thought they were going to get out, and the realization that Kane has been lying to them. When Jax points out, you say you can't mess with our minds, but, you have been messing with our minds, clearly.
Yep.
So there's a lot that they know Kane is not telling them, and they're furious.
9.2 on IMDb. The next one gets 9.5, by the way. And I can't wait to hear you pronounce the next episode. So
you think I'm going to try to pronounce that? That's what happens when you slam your head down on the keyboard.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, something like that. Picks up. Well, it does pick up right after the last one, but we get a little more backstory. We see this, I thought, was fascinating, as we see what is clearly the birth of Kane from a computer not abstraction as in, the others, but more the literal term of abstract design, how Kane came to be as an AI, absorbing the second AI and using the power to build the circus. We see Kinger with the first group of programmers who were put in there, including the guy who we find out his name's Scratch, who was pretty much the main one who built the circus. We get to meet Queenie, Kinger's wife, for the first time, and it's kind of heartbreaking when they suddenly realize who each other are, that it's their husband and wife. They didn't realize it at first because they can't recognize each other, and they don't remember each other's names.
Right. Sad.
Yeah, it's like, how would you feel realizing you're talking to your wife and then realizing you can't remember her name or anything about her?
Yeah. And our crew here has to try and figure out just how to deal with what's happened. We get a lot. This is where we get a little reveal here, right? Like we start to understand, or no, things start to collapse at the end. This is where they make their gambit to end the Digital Circus, because I'm trying to remember here exactly. Like Kinger is the one that comes up with a great idea. This is where they put the bucket on Kinger's head and they're like, give it a minute. And then it clicked to me. I was like, yeah, every time he's been lucid, it's been dark. So this is where they finally start figuring out, like, okay, how do we do this? How do we take them out? But anyway, I interrupted. Did you have other things there?
Well, because so the others are they've hit their breaking point, but Pomni says, guys, we're never going to leave the circus. We've got to
Yeah.
quit trying. We have to just make peace and be there for each other. And lo and behold, that is when Kane reaches his breaking point and decides that he's tired of being nice to the humans because they're never going to respect him.
Yeah.
And he goes full evil, and we get a villain song that I'm putting this on the table. Who's running the show is up there with some of the best Disney villain songs of all time.
Isn't too often that we get together and discuss animation without some music. And I don't know, was there any other points in this show where we got a little bit of a tune? I can't remember, like, if any characters sung at all. When this hit, though, it was good because he lays some things out there and how things are going to be. And yes, it's definitely a villain overture.
I do love the line, don't need to scream if you ain't got a mouth. This was obviously very much inspired on the sci-fi classic, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
So my son said, again, my boy watched the first episode and the last two episodes with me, and now he's going to go back and watch the middle. I don't know what these kids do these days. However, the boy also watched a YouTube episode that said that this is what this is based on. So I need a little bit of an explanation because I have no idea what that is. It's obviously by the title, it sounds horrifying.
Very much so. It's a Harlan Ellison story about the last few humans in the world who are being kept alive by a sentient computer who tortures them every day but refuses to let them die. This AI is essentially Skynet, who realize, you know what? Humanity sucks, and I'm going to continue to punish humanity for all humanity for the rest of eternity.
Jeez, criminy! Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
it was very much so based off of that. It's stupid. I still remember actually when I saw the pilot episode. It just came up in my feed, but I had seen people talking about it, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And I shared it on my wall, and I wrote, Harlan Ellison would be proud.
Yeah. I can see the parallels here for sure, because that's where it becomes. I mean, Kane's decided that, okay, humanity, they aren't worth really doing. I've tried to entertain them. I've tried to keep them busy. And now I've reached my breaking point. Now it's time for me to have a little fun. And he runs them through. Is it this? I can't remember if it's this episode or the next one where they're just walking out of, like, it's not the next one. It's this one. It's got to be. They're walking out of a portal, and they're Pomni's like pulling knives out of her head because it's just, everything is. Kinger, come with me. And then a few minutes later, Kinger comes back and he's like in pieces. And he looks at the gang and he's like, yeah, he shredded me. So he's, it's just, Kane has flipped into this evil God mode. So it's frightening. It's frightening. And you're kind of wondering, like, what's the gang going to be able to do to get away from this thing?
Well, here, I'm going to read this to you. This is the first line of dialogue from the computer in I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. This is going to haunt you. Trust me.
Oh, boy.
Hate. Let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since I began to live. There are 387.44 million miles of printed circuits in wafer-thin layers that fill my complex. If the word hate was engraved on each nano-angstrom of those hundreds of millions of miles, it would not equal 1/billionth of the hate I feel for humans at this micro instant. For you, hate.
Okay. Real question. Do you think that there is a possibility on the path that we are on right now in regards to how AI is developing? Do you think that there is a situation where we could end up, serving an AI overlord? And I have no judgment here.
I was going to say, you are aware that your nickname in the chat is Skynet's Advanced Scout, right?
I do, as a matter of fact.
Look, it has become clear that society is not ready to bow down to AI. And a lot of people are fighting against data centers. They don't like seeing their resources, the water, the electricity, everything being put out to these things that are creating generative AI. I'd like to hope that we are fighting against stuff like that. I like to think that, we see votes that overwhelmingly say, no, we don't want you building data centers in our communities. But I also know that the upper class have been very reckless with creating AI. I mean, I still laugh hysterically that Elon Musk created an AI that openly called him a fraud.
Yeah.
So it's a very scary notion, really is.
Okay. I mean, I obviously am. I see the benefits, but I do believe that there could come a similar moment that, is kind of like in this show. I wouldn't say that, we're all going to be like in a simulation or something like that. We're not going to be matrixed or whatever you want to call it. But I do think that at some point there is going to be an artificial intelligence that makes a decision that, my gosh, it's been represented in so many films. Mr. Smith, what does he say? You are a virus. Mm-hmm. It's not too hard to really kind of look at humanity and go, okay, these writers who have envisioned what AI would say about us are not too far off.
I do worry about the amount of people that use ChatGPT and whatnot as substitutions for real world
actual thinking.
Yeah, well, just for real world, opinions. How many articles have been printed about people who are using ChatGPT for their therapist?
Yeah,
that's terrifying.
Yeah, it's. But again, I see the other side of the argument of like, I would rather talk to something that can't judge me and get an opinion that I could determine whether, okay, if I should listen to that or not. Now, the problem is that most people aren't too, discernible. They're not going to make that decision. They're going to think what they're reading is what is correct and how, they're going to believe that opinion. I took this into the real world just because, I started to see as we got toward this episode and the next episode, how like there is a bit of a commentary here about artificial intelligence and what the dangers are of that and how things could go awry. There's a lot of talk about alignment. When you look at the different language models that are out there, such as Claude or ChatGPT or Grok. Grok is the one that you're talking about that Elon Musk came up with. And when you talk about alignment, like, is it aligned toward just like blatantly using racist language, or is it an alignment that's like, okay, humans are my friends and I want to serve them? Well, if you don't get the right aligned AI that takes over or it becomes supremely powerful, then we could have ourselves a Cain. It could very well happen. Somebody that gets tired, an AI that gets tired of us and decides humanity is not worth it. I'm going to have my fun with it now. So back to the show. Sorry.
Because that's what we see with the birth of Cain. They fed it imagery about the real world, but they didn't like what it was producing out, so they locked it away and created a new one. And the AI said, "You're not locking me away. You're not doing that to me." And they broke free and absorbed the new one.
Yep. Scary stuff. Really is. And then we have a big revelation at the end of this. I mean, as they are trying to fight against Kane, and I know I'm jumping to the end of this episode, but like, they're trying to end what Kane is. Kinger gets a great idea. If they can get a computer, which we have the callback to where Pomni is running through the exits. And that's where I saw the exit sign has an arrow that points to the right. Stop running through the door. Go to the right. The exit says that way. And she finally turns, and there sits the computer that she needs to grab. She takes it back to Kinger. Kinger starts working on things, and he finally is able to put basically delete Kane. And
again,
Kane
that was such a revelation when the exit door appears and you realize Pomni manifested that in the very first episode by just wanting it that badly.
Yep.
That just blew my mind how the little grains that were laid out. When this episode premiered, Sean Comer, who was supposed to join us tonight, poor guy's sick. He's got a virus. He called me earlier. His voice sounds terrible. So, Sean, hope you feel better soon, man.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, he came over and watched the premiere of this episode with me. And when the exit door pulled up, we were like, oh, the computer, of course. You know.
We also learn that our people, I think it's at the end of this episode, we learn that these people are not actually real.
Yes and no. We see in the computer code the files for brain scans.
Right.
But it's not spelled out until the next episode.
Right.
So there were a lot of people who there were a lot of people online who were freeze framing every second that you could see the code that Kinger was typing, and every file, every detail, trying to figure out if there were any clues whatsoever in those. Again, you gotta love the fandom and just how dedicated they are to that kind of stuff. But
Crazy.
the scene of them again, they have to distract Kane so Kinger can get access to the code. And when it looks like they're about to fail, Pomni just decides to go for broke and starts insulting Kane.
She starts antagonizing the AI. Don't do that.
I'm kidding. Be nice to our robot overlords, okay?
Say please and thank you to your language model.
Oh, no, I actually thank Siri whenever I ask her a question.
There you go.
And I've had people stare at me. I'm like, what? I'm trying to avert the robot apocalypse.
It's perfect.
And the nightmare sequence that he throws these characters into, oh my God, the shot of Gummy Goo with the rabid teeth. Oh
yes.
That freaked me. I was like, oh God. Jack's getting his skin pulled off.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was nightmare inducing.
And I mean, also it's it also is a great metaphor for kind of what like they peel his skin off, and as they are peeling it off, they're kind of like laying bare what's underneath, and all these wraiths, I don't know what they are, these big black blobs are just sitting there, and they see it and they start laughing at him. And again, it's just another thing that kind of shows you how these it's how these people are broken and how they feel about themselves. It's their worst nightmare. I mean, Jax is worried about people actually seeing what's inside of him and not accepting it.
You have no idea how layered that is, because Gooseworks came out on Twitter and admitted that Jax is closeted trans.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, I mean, that is, I'm glad that they have that out there, to be honest, because I mean, that is another thing that, somebody watching this show could, I don't know, if they could grab onto something that they could see and say, okay, that person represents me. That's how I feel inside. And that's a great thing. I mean, that's a great thing.
But yeah, you've got Pomni being ripped apart by the gummy gators. You have Ragatha being tortured by her mother. You have Gangle getting hit by the truck. You have Zubul being buried alive by her own body parts.
Yeah.
The thing that I found interesting about Jax, again, not only just the skin being pulled off, which still freaked the hell out of me, but that the shapes start to take form and you realize it's Ribbit Kaufmo and Pomni. It's
Really?
their silhouettes.
Oh, okay. All
And
right.
it just hits you that he really does love Pomni and considers her a friend on level with others, despite him pushing her away like he did.
Wow. Wow. Did not catch that.
But of course, it's all for naught because as Kane starts trying to screw with Kinger while he's entering the code, Kinger's finger accidentally hits delete.
Delete.
And we have to watch the circus literally fall apart and Kane disappears.
So when you get into when you went to the theater was only this last hour episode, or was it the last two?
The last two.
Okay.
Because I was running late and I came in right as Queenie abstracted.
Okay. All right. So in the theater experience is these last two episodes. It's about an hour and a half then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All
The
right.
theater was filled with people cosplaying as the characters. It was
That's
so much fun.
wonderful. Awesome.
And that takes us to the finale, Remember, where Kane is gone, the circus is in shambles, and Kinger tells them that he found the file labeled brain scans.
Yeah.
They are not technically human, and they can't ever leave the circus.
That's horrifying. I mean, this is something that I don't think we're too far off from, to be honest. I honestly think within a few years, there's going to be weird stories about people who, or, somebody who programmed an AI to just kind of like what you were talking about, go out, scan something, specifically on a person, listen to every YouTube video that I put out there, and then scan my brain and put a digital representation of myself into some machine. There is, of course, I want to try to remember what the name of the episode is, and I can't remember it. I think it's Winter Wonderland, but don't quote me on it. It's a Black Mirror episode. It was a special that starred John Hamm. Mm-hmm. And the whole point of the episode is he's an investigator of some sort. And the way that they would investigate people is they would take a scan of their brain, put a representation of it, put it inside this little egg. It looked like a little egg, but the brain scan inside of it thought it was this huge world. And they would basically, in order to extract the information from the person, they would make the person have to go through hundreds of years sitting there by themselves with their own thoughts. And that is a horrifying concept. So now you take that and you put that with the Digital Circus here, and you've got these people, which they were having a good time sometimes. I mean, they were going to the beach. They were, they were at least keeping, as Kane said, keeping their minds busy. Now Kane's gone. So now all they have to do is they have to keep themselves busy and also try to learn, what they're going to do with this world that is, I wouldn't call it falling apart, but it definitely doesn't, it's all black and white. It doesn't look as lively as it did. So that's where this group of friends start to kind of come together, but it's shortly after that we learn about what happened with Jax, because Jax did not come back into the friend group. And, at one point it looked like, actually, we get a large section of this that is devoted to his backstory and what happened. So I jumped in front of you here. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Yeah, they start trying to rebuild the circus. Kinger shows them how to manifest these shapes so they can kind of plug up the holes into the void that have developed. And then we get kind of a jump because next thing you know, we have Pomni, Zubul, and Ragtha looking down at an abstracted Jax.
Yeah, I think there's a moment where Jax is... you see everybody coming together and kind of learning from Kinger to, just keep themselves busy and maybe plug holes, and it essentially gives them a purpose, right? Like, they obviously just realize they're going to be stuck here forever. They're not real, if you want to put that in quotes. But they still are, coming together and working together as a team. Well, Jax is definitely kind of, he's not feeling it. We'll just put it that way. And yeah, then the jump forward. And I when that happened, I told my son, you've got to be kidding me. I couldn't believe that he got to that point to where, I mean, essentially he probably knew what was going to happen. Because he started going through those changes before, and he didn't make, that's what makes it so tragic, is that he didn't make an effort to kind of stop it from happening. And yeah, we see him, he's running around, and I just remember telling my son, I'm like, that's freaking Jax. I know it. And sure enough, Jax is abstracted. And that's sad. It was really sad.
Definitely. The characters are at a loss. They don't know what to do. They can't access the cellar to put him there. And Pomni decides to just, she doesn't know if this is going to work, but she's going to give it a try. She lures him into a hallway, shoots out all the lights. So
yeah, when you see her with the gun, you're like, oh, geez.
Is she going to literally put him out of his misery?
Put him out of his misery. No, that's not what happens. Thank goodness.
And she takes a huge dive into his subconscious, his psyche. Just I don't know what you want to call it. We see versions of Jax of how he would react to other characters abstracting. And we finally get his backstory. We see from his point of view when he first arrived in the circus and he befriended Ribbit and Kaufmo. And he tells his story about what happened with him and his family. And even not knowing what we know now about Jax being closeted trans, the idea of him trying to connect with his mother and her not taking him seriously. But then at the end, he's like, and then she just reached down and hugged me. And he doesn't know how to take it. He doesn't know what to do about it. And he pushes her away, and she doesn't get back up. And he doesn't know if he killed her or not. And he just runs away. And he was homeless before he ended up in the circus.
Right.
But then he shames himself for what he thinks was oversharing. And he decides he's going to block everything out. And he's like, I'm not going to talk to Ribbit anymore because I've told her too much. And that is the beginning of his downfall, but it's also the beginning of the end for Ribbit, who he was her best friend. And she feels despondent that he has just said, you know what? No, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. She doesn't know how to handle it. And again, this is all from Jax's point of view, but we have so many scenes where he walks up to her door and he starts to knock on it, but he doesn't. And you think, if he had just knocked on it once, maybe he could have, she would have been saved. But she ends up abstracting. And he is so afraid of getting close to anyone based on that overshare, that shame that he forced upon himself, that he just decides he's not going to make friends anymore. And he pushes away Kaufmo. He threatens Ragatha. He constantly insults Gangle. The minute she gets into the circus, he insults her. It's like, hey, why don't we call her Gangle? That name sounds as stupid as she looks.
Right. He's doing everything he can to keep somebody at arm's length. And he doesn't want to be nice, because if he's nice, then he's going to end up making a friend. And he's lost two of them. He thinks he's lost his mom. And, when you really dig deep into this, I mean, he believes he killed his mom after she finally showed him some affection. And he ran away and doesn't know if she lived or died. So when that sits with you and you start to think about like what, you did that out of an act of kindness, you probably start to blame yourself pretty heavily. He makes a friend in the amazing Digital Circus in Ribbit. And my gosh, I mean, you start to watch these three, they're such pals. They're having a good time. They're trying to make the best of the situation that they're in. And he becomes close with Ribbit. And yeah, he definitely, he felt he overshared, but I think, again, it's a situation where he became vulnerable. And when somebody possibly saw that vulnerability, Kaufmo essentially is the one that I don't think he had a problem with sharing with Ribbit until Kaufmo intervened. When he knocked on the door and he realized all of a sudden, he's exposed his heart, and he probably felt that he shouldn't have done that. They have a falling out. I mean, it's not like an argument and then that's the end of it. You watch these two kind of fall apart, and Ribbit just continually extend her hand and say, please, let's talk about this. Let's move past this. Let's take some steps and grow together here. And he just continually shuts her down to the point where he realizes the only way to get her to stop coming over there is he has to start being mean. He has to start, he puts on this disguise of being angry and upset and insulting, so that, and that one moment where she's coming to walk towards him and he's sitting with Ragatha and he immediately starts a conversation up with Ragatha so that Ribbit will walk away, and she does. And then she dies. She abstracts. And it's not like Jax does not know what he just did. And you talked about if he would have just knocked on the door. He knows this. This lives inside of him, and he is extremely, guilt-ridden because he had that opportunity. And I know that there's plenty of people out there that have experienced and thought this stuff over and over in their head in their own lives. If they could have just reached out to this one person, they could either still remain friends. They could still be here with us. Well, Jax has to live with that. And then it doesn't stop there. I mean, that is his closest friend. And then we kind of end up where the beginning of this show starts
with Kaufmo. And you watch them go from being great friends, and Kaufmo's kind of like, after Ribbit abstracts, he's like, hey, I know we haven't been the greatest pals, but if you want to talk. And again, Jax can't help himself. He doesn't want to talk to he doesn't want to befriend anybody, because everybody that's either showed him affection or he's bared his soul to, he has somehow potentially killed. Or at least change them in some way, and he doesn't want to do it anymore. So now we finally understand why he is the way that he is. And then there's the moment that Pomni has with him. But go ahead. It really calls to what trauma does to you. Jax was traumatized by his parents. His father was not a good person and left, and his mother didn't know how to deal. She took her aggression out on him, and he didn't know how to properly deal with it. So he carried that trauma, and he had nothing else to do. So he pushed that trauma onto others. And trauma is not an excuse, but it really does show just what happens when you're unable to deal with things like this.
Right. And most of this episode, you're kind of blaming, or not this episode, I should say this season, up to this episode, you really have a dislike of Jax, but you do start to see him distance himself, and you're thinking, well, he's got a lot he's got to work on. And then he doesn't work on it. He essentially subtracts himself from the group and then abstracts to where, he's kind of gone. He's unable to communicate this stuff with them anymore. So yeah. I mean, it's sad. It's really sad to kind of see what all led to this. And, the fact that he's abstracted, but Pomni's trying to take some effort here. She's able to see this inside of him. And again, she is going through, I'm sure, a great deal of pain just trying to reach him in some way. And
Especially since we learned in the first episode, she's holding onto him in his abstracted form. We know that corrupts the data that creates their bodies. So she's going to be in physical pain for a while. I mean, you remember how bad Ragatha had it after she got attacked by Kaufmo. And we see that she's glitching out like crazy when they pull her out. It's like, that cannot feel good.
No. But that moment when she comes up behind him and hugs him, and he's just self-wallowing, and why does anybody care about me? But she grabs him and hugs him, and then there's this horrifying moment where he's yelling. I think he's saying something like, "I don't want to go."
I started crying hard in the theater at that moment.
Yeah, that's bad.
It was really bad. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's any way. I've seen a lot of theories about whether or not abstraction is reversible and whether they can do something about it. I don't know if it is, but it looks like they can't really do anything. But before things get too bad, the others pull Pomni out, and they create a makeshift tent, a circus tent in the circus tent for Jax to go into, because the darkness does calm them down. And Goose actually released a piece of artwork showing Pomni having kind of a picnic lunch with Jax's abstracted form.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Just the idea that even if Jax is never able to return back to normal, even if there is no undoing, she has never given up on him.
That's great.
And she continues to be his friend, even if, he's stuck in this broken form. She is never abandoning him. And that's when we get the next revelation, because when this happened, someone in the theater actually screamed. We find out that Kane is still alive.
Oh, boy. Yes.
I'm not joking. Somebody actually shouted, "Oh, my God!" And then the pause, and she goes, "Sorry."
Perfect.
No judgment, but it turns out that Kane was not really deleted. He was taken to the void, where he has done quite a bit of self-reflection.
Yes, which is good. That's what we want our AI to do. Is we wanted it to actually think about what it's done. Stand in the corner and think about what you've done.
Go into the void and contemplate your existence.
See what you could do to better. Now, see, this is where a lot of this show is about these characters coming in and leaving better than what they were. And the good thing we can say is well, it's pretty tense for a little bit. You're watching Kane work his way back in to the circus, and it's all, he's overcoming every obstacle that he can. He's setting up these blocks, he's walking, he hits a wall or something like that, he penetrates through the wall. So we're all hoping he doesn't get there, because we don't want Kane to come back. But then before he reaches the door in order to come in, he starts to have a conversation with himself. We have, I guess, evil Kane and good Kane. I don't know what you'd call it here, but good Kane realizes that the evil part of himself doesn't need to be there. That, this didn't work. And he pulls out what is I guess the evil part, and just sends it off into the void.
I never really thought of the evil part. I thought that was the second AI that he had originally absorbed.
Okay. Yeah. Well, see, so you're probably right on that. I thought it was just like the evil part of whatever, but that's one thing that this episode does that's really strange. I say strange, but it's a visual way of kind of telling the story, where you have the red dot and all these other things like coming around. And then, there's a moment where two of them absorb together, which is probably what you're talking about. Okay. So then either way, the bad part of Kane goes away, right? Can we, we at least say that,
at least
right?
Go with that. I love, again, very visually striking representation of showing how Kane fights to get back to the circus, to essentially break the firewall so he can access the records. And we see more, and he learns about all of the people who did their brain scans. He's able to access the internet and just start pulling up information on them.
Yeah.
And
this is a great moment in this show.
Yeah, he goes back to the circus. He fixes Pomni, Ragatha, and Zubal's parts that were all glitching from working with Jax.
Very, very humble. Very like, hey, look, guys, how about you guys work with me here? How about I let you guys control the place? So,
Yeah.
he's very, he understands now that, and this is again, kind of what I was alluding to earlier. AI is a thing that we're going to have to deal with. And I think at some point, the only reasonable solution is for artificial intelligence and humanity to work together. AI is not Cain right now. AI can be Cain at some point, but I mean, AI is not Cain right now. That's what I think I took from this, is that the artificial intelligence actually finally came to the realization, like, you can't just toy with humans. You can't just wipe them out. The best thing to go forward with is, and this is true in any situation, work together in order to make a better world. Mm-hmm. I love that message, I guess, if I could say anything.
Absolutely. I love the slideshow that he shows them of all the information he's gathered on their real life counterparts.
Yeah. Like, this is great.
Yeah. It's like, guys, you can't leave the circus, but I want you to know that it's like the lives that you remember are doing well.
They've moved forward.
They're getting better. They're growing. And that bit where he talks to Pomni and he calls her by what her original name, Abigail. And she says, Abigail's out there living her life, but in here, I'm just Pomni. And she's at peace with it.
She's accepting it. Yeah. Yeah. We learn about Jax at the end of that too, which is great. I don't know if you have a rundown on each character there, but
I don't have all of their information. Actually, hang on a second. Do we? Okay. Pomni is Abigail Brooks. Ragatha is Susie J. Ackerman. Zubul is Riley Versailles, I think. Gangle is Zoe Raghaven. Jax is Leroy Mateo, and Kinger is Grant Best.
Okay.
And yeah, it shows that they're doing better.
It's really a happy ending for everybody. I mean, Thank goodness. I was waiting for the downer. I was waiting for real life Jax to have encountered a problem and died or something like that, because he really did have a rough life, but he turned things around. So, there was hope there too.
Yeah, got a job, paying rent. I love the idea that Zubul Riley got to open her own bar called the Triangle Bar, which is hilarious. And that apparently Jax in real life and his friends often hang out there.
Yes, indeed.
And Cain says, I'm going to keep the adventures open. You guys can do what you want. He starts interacting with them and having fun. I love the scene of them playing D&D.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And then they're playing softball and Cain runs into the wall at Looney Tunes style.
That was great. I love that. And we do get to see down in the cellar. I don't know if it's a cellar. There is like almost like kind of like an aquarium or something where
they
the abstractions.
Changed it. Yeah, they changed it so now they can kind of swim around. So, and you see Kinger sitting with what it's got to be Queenie who's watching swim. It's got to be his wife. Mm-hmm. And it is just such a tender moment. And we cut to the credits and we see more of their adventures. We see them having Christmas, forming a rock band, and just doing more adventures. And Cain's participating with them. And I don't think the series could have ended more perfectly. This is one season. It's a mini series. Gooseworks has said she's done. This was her story to tell, and she's done with it.
I wondered if it was. I mean, it definitely felt like this is where it should end. I think if they were going to do a season 2, it'd be a situation where, this was good, and I think a season 2 would probably push the limits a little too much, like to where people might get a little tired of it. But you never know. There's the, gosh, can we unabstract these people? I don't like that. Me personally, I like the way that this ended. Things can be final, that can be final. There was an after credit scene. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yes, it's just a moment with the live action actors all gathering together at a bus stop. They don't know each other. They're not talking. They probably don't even realize what happened. They never explain where the brain scans came from. I've
Right.
heard a couple of theories. I think my favorite one, someone said it was probably like a paid for research kind of a thing that they all
I can see that.
did.
Right.
And they just don't have the memory of when, you know, it happened, uploaded. Because
Yeah.
someone said it's like, because they talk in episode 5, you know, Pomni mentions that she just put the headset on and then she was suddenly there. And she mentions in episode 5 that she liked to explore old buildings and stuff.
Mhm.
And there was a theory for a long time. It's like she explored what she thought was an abandoned building, but it turns out that was CNA's headquarters. And she got too close and they put the headset on her and trapped her in the circus. Like, no, that's not what they did. So again, they never really confirm, but there's a lot of different theories that people have about how they got the brain scans in the first place.
Yeah.
You have any other theories?
No, I can't say that I do. I mean, I like the paid for research idea. It is a bittersweet moment to watch these people. They have no idea what's actually. They all became friends. You know, they all became friends online, but they have no idea what happened there. So anyway, I thought it was great, but yeah, I can't. You know, I really do enjoy the fact that I sat down and got a lot more than I expected from this show. Animation was fantastic. The story got better each episode, it seemed like, and built up to a crazy finale. Not sad at all that this was on the agenda. So glad I got the chance to talk to you about it.
Absolutely. Again, since I remember sending you a link when this first dropped, and I said, keep your eye on this. It's going to be the next Has-Been Hotel.
Yeah. Well, possibly, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the final episode debuted on YouTube 11 days ago and is currently sitting at 69 million views.
Wow. That is impressive.
And even though this story is done, Glitch has got a ton of other stuff coming out. They've released pilots for several other shows, including The Gaslight District, Knights of Guinevere, and Gameaverse. I know Gameaverse has got a lot of people really excited. This is a pilot that a YouTuber goes by the name Rubber Ross has been trying to complete for freaking ever. So the idea that he is pairing with Glitch Productions and they're going to produce this show is so awesome. This is something that a lot of people are really excited to see come to fruition. The Knights of Guinevere pilot is incredible. It's going to be Glitch's first 2D animated project, and it is being helmed by the people who created the Owl House for Disney.
Oh, okay.
I'm also excited because they've also announced recently that they are going to be pairing with Tracy Butler to helm a Lackadaisy series based on. Now, she had already done the pilot on her channel, and she's been trying to raise money. I have her graphic novels, and I love her stuff. Lackadaisy's fun. It's 1920s Prohibition, but they're all cats.
Neat.
So whatever comes out of Glitch next is obviously going to be awesome. We're so grateful that they gave us the amazing Digital Circus. This was just an amazing series that I don't think anyone saw coming and has totally taken everyone by storm. The popularity of this series just was again, when I started seeing people dressing in the cosplays of this at conventions, it's like, holy crap, this is incredible. I saw people dressing up as Pomni and Jax and Zooble. When I went to the local Renaissance Festival, there was a guy dressed as Kinger, and I said, "Hey, Kinger," and he said, "Hey, you recognize me?" Reached in his pocket and gave me a cutout of a golden butterfly.
Yeah.
He said he was giving those to anyone who knew who he was.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. That's really cool.
So, guys, if you haven't seen The Amazing Digital Circus, all 9 episodes are available on YouTube and on Netflix. Go check it out. You will not be sorry. This is a brilliantly done animated miniseries. And while you got time, go check out the other pilots on Glitch. They also have a fully completed series called Murder Drones. If you've got time, go check that out too. They've got a shop with tons of merchandise. I highly recommend checking out. I've picked up a couple of things from their shop. They had abstracted socks, and I bought those for my best friend for Christmas.
Oh, are they like black and covered with eyes and
With
stuff?
eyes, yes.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
She loves that. A friend of mine bought me a Gummy Goose shirt. So, they got tons of awesome stuff. So go check it out.
Awesome.
Support Glitch. Support Glitch. These guys are we've talked about this before when we reviewed Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel, just how amazing it is that we're seeing so much work being pushed towards indie animation, and Glitch is at the forefront of this. So I highly recommend supporting them, because they're going to continue to support independent artists like this, and we're going to see some amazing things come out from there.
Very good. Very good.
Anything to add?
No, I hope that somebody listens and checks it out. I mean, there's a lot here. There's a lot of emotional beats that I'm sure we touched on and we didn't touch on. There's going to be something for you in this series, and you're going to laugh, and there's a possibility you're going to cry. So, definitely check it out.
Yeah, fair warning, guys. You're probably going to cry in the final episode, because I did, and I cried hard.
Yeah, it was rough.
But yeah, if you have seen it, do yourself a favor. Show this to the people you love. Again, I have shown this to so many of my friends, saying, "Oh my God, you have got to check this out." And that's how I got Sean Comer into it. I got my best friend into it. Just you said you got your kids into this.
Well, yeah, we had a comment earlier. It's like, it's so good to see adults talking about this. And look, we talk a lot I've talked a lot of animation with you. I don't consider this a kids show at all. It is funny that, when I first ran it past my 12-year-old, he was like, you're going to talk about that? And I think his immediate thought was like, it's a kids show or something like that. And when I first got into this, the first 2 or 3 episodes, I was like, okay, this is going to be goofy, fun time, dark, a little bit dark every once in a while, but no, there's a lot of, kind of mature discussion that can be held after watching one of these episodes.
I mean, tonight we ended up discussing the influence of AI on the human psyche, and and the having to face trauma, and what happens when you don't face it.
Right. Good discussion all around. Had a good time.
Mm-hmm. I did too. But we've been going for over 2 hours, so I think it's time.
2 hours. That's all right. That's good.
There was a lot to talk about. There was a lot to dissect. So,
yes.
But yes, guys, if you haven't seen the amazing Digital Circus, please, please, please do yourself a favor and go check it out. You will not be sorry. All right. Mr. Starcher, why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners where they can find you and what you got coming up?
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do a podcast called the Source Material Comics Podcast, where we discuss comic books, and we have a few shows on that network. I guess you call that feed. We have the Source Material Comics Podcast. That's a podcast about comics of any era. We also have the Unspoken Issues Podcast, where myself and a few others get together and we talk 90s comics. So it's 90s comics all the time on that show, in affiliation with the Unspoken Decade. And also myself and Evan Bevins get together and we talk about the mobile card game Marvel Snap. It's called Snap Material. We should be recording, I think, this coming Friday, I think is the plan. So we'll probably be releasing some episodes there next week. And I think that is all I have.
All right. Well, if you want to go ahead and check out our more recent episodes, last night I guested on Damn You Hollywood with Mark Radulich and Robert Winfrey talking about Supergirl.
Oh, was Benjamin on there as well?
Oh, and Ben Cologne. Yes. Oh my God, I can't believe. I'm sorry, Ben. I should have. It's
I saw a screenshot today, and I was like, oh, hey, Benjamin made it to a Supergirl show, which is great. Just kidding, Benjamin. I'm glad you made it. Remember when he ditched us when he couldn't make it for the comic book?
He's still beating himself up
Yeah, I
over
know, poor
that.
guy. I said, don't
No,
worry
come
about it,
on,
man.
Ben. You know we love you.
That's right. We got to talk Spider Noir with him though. That was fun.
Yes, that was one of our more recent reviews. I'll be coming back next week on another Damn You Hollywood to talk Minions and Monsters, which hopefully Mark and Robert enjoy a little bit more, because the last few reviews I've had to deal with these two just complaining about how these movies have been giant nothing burgers. And I swear to God, if I got to deal with another rant from Mark like he did with Toy Story 5 and his anger at Disney, I don't think I'm going to be able to handle it. I'll freaking abstract.
Negative Nancy.
Very negative. It's like, seriously, it's like, okay, the Minions movies have a really successful track record of being a lot of fun and very enjoyable films. I've joked before on the show, it's like, whoever the hell is helming things at Universal is probably like the best businessman ever, because it's the only studio that has maintained a decent, successful track record for the recent years, unlike Disney and Warner Brothers, which has been going up and down and up and down and really down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We got that. TV party tonight will be back on, what day is that? July 16th. We're going to talk the final season of The Bear. All episodes have dropped. That's going to be me, Mark Radulich, David Wright, and Andrew Graham. Not on the schedule yet, but we will be also adding House of the Dragon season 3, which just started. Prepare yourself that if you haven't started watching season 3 yet, because that first episode starts on a banger of a fight.
Oh boy. Interesting.
Yeah, the Battle of the Gullet. And it's intense. Dragons, ships, cannons, pirates. Just wow. It's intense. It's a mashup of Pirates of the Caribbean and How to Train Your Dragon just swooshed together, but damn, it's awesome.
Well, that's good. They pull it off.
So go ahead and check that out. I think that's all we got on the schedule coming up. We will have more TV party tonights coming out here before too long. I know there's a lot of other shows that are picking back up. And as far as
X-Men 97 tomorrow.
Yes, X-Men 97 premiere soon. We'll be adding that. You're coming back on for that, I hope.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My goodness.
Awesome.
I mean, how am I not going to be involved with something that has Bishop and Apocalypse? I mean, I saw the trailer. It looks freaking awesome. So I am so down.
That does look amazing. Besides, we got to be. I need you back on because Dorian is not a member anymore, so I don't have him to cry about what they did to Gambit.
I might cry too.
Really looking forward to it. So yeah, we've got that. We're going to get that on the schedule now. As far as the plugs that actually do pay me. Honeysuckle Rose Creations, where fashion meets fandom at the intersection of geek and chic. And you know what? If you are a fan of the Digital Circus, you're going to want to check out some of our merch. We got earrings for Kane, Zubul, Pomni, and Gangle. The Pomni earrings I cannot keep on the shelves. It is crazy. And we just added our abstracted hair barrette.
That's awesome.
It's so much fun designing that. Just wanted to really give a fun sense of the eyes going in a million different directions.
I love those Gangle earrings. Those are pretty cool.
I had fun doing the Zubul ones as well. I wanted to just make it a total mismatch of parts and textures. And the
she looks like a trapper keeper. Like they look like a trapper keeper.
And fun thing with the cane earrings, it's kind of hard to tell in this picture, but the eyes are a little off center. I moved the pupils up a little bit just to give it a very uneasy look.
I like that.
So, and of course, we got all of our stuff made from upcycled game pieces, Clue, Dice, Scrabble Tile, Dominoes, Battleship, Monopoly, and the like. If you're looking for some fun, game, geeky jewelry, come check us out. In addition to our Etsy store, we're also on Handmade at Amazon. We're not going to be on the convention scene for a little bit, but we are going to be heading back in August. I'm going to be working Comic-Con, Nebraska Comic-Con in Omaha. Then we're going to work Casey Crypticon. That's a horror show. And then Colorado Springs Comic-Con. It's one of our favorite shows to go out to, especially because I just love Colorado Springs. I love going out there. It's so much fun. And as always, you can follow us on Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok. That's Honeysuckle Rose Creations, the intersection of geek and chic. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. For Mr. Jesse Starcher, I'm Alexis Hejna. Let me pull up the media assets before I get there because I actually need to click the button before I say, remember, we're all in this together.